Hey, broads, it's your girl, Queen ShanShan, on a broadcast podcast, and I am back with new tea. But this tea tastes a little different. I was asked by many of you to talk about what is going on in our new world, the COVID-19 world, and how many people are experiencing this new way of life. We will be interviewing all sorts of people on this podcast and practicing our social distancing while I call on them and have some really in depth conversations. From mothers to fathers, from teachers to doctors, nurses to businessmen and women all alike. What is their take on how they're living in the coronavirus era? So sit back and relax, and thank you for listening to Abroad. Hey, broads, this is your girl, Queen ShanShan, and you are back listening to us on a brand new phone audio podcast. This is a new platform I'm introducing to the audience and to all of you broads globally. I just wanted to say I hope you're safe. I hope you're dealing with this unusual, unprecedented time in our lives. And I just want to say also thank you for listening to me and to this new platform that we're introducing on a broadcast podcast. I have an amazing new guest, and I'm hopefully I'm not going to butcher her last name as I've had before. But we are having today, and I'm super excited, we have Hallie Avolio. Is it right?
You were so close. It's Avolio. You were so close.
Avolio.
There you go. Perfect. Nailed it.
Hallie Avolio. I feel like I'm going to sound like Oprah. Avolio.
Yeah, there you go.
Come down.
I love it. You get some Oprah swag in there. Perfect. Love it.
Hi, Hallie. How are you doing?
I'm so good, Shannon. It's so great to be here with you, and I'm just really grateful to you for your energy and for your love and compassion, and I'm just so thankful for this opportunity.
So, Hallie, what are you doing and how are you doing during this quarantine, during this unprecedented time that we are going through on a nationwide basis? What's going on with you?
You know, it is so weird. There's really no other way to explain it, right? I mean, this is just such a strange time of life. There's so many parts of it that I just feel grateful for and I see blessings in. For example, having more time with my kids. I've got 3 small kids, so we're all home and we're getting to know one another better. I'm so grateful that my husband, his work is flourishing and he has a lot of work that needs to get done. And of course, I'm so grateful for our health and the beautiful place that we live in Santa Barbara. But, you know, on the other hand, it's also really scary. And I definitely struggle with some anxieties, and the unknown definitely throws me off my game a little bit. So it's hard, but I'm the type of person that always likes to look at the positive. So for me, I'm just trying to take every opportunity to make, lemonade out of lemons, or whatever that expression is.
Right. Well, a lot of people do not know how to make lemonade out of lemons, and we are going to see a lot of, in my profession, I'm an insurance agent, and we are going to see, and I hate to be a soothsayer, but I'm going to be real. I'm going to see a lot of more clients filing disability for depression and emotional distress in the next 2 or 3 months.
I believe it.
There are so many people losing their jobs. There are so many people that are going to be hit economically, and people who are losing their family members and friends due to this virus. So what I wanted to get on the phone with you and talk to you about is, you're always talking about on your that's what I want to do. People are going to be like, well, who are you, Hallie? So, Hallie, who are you? What do you do? And why do you do it?
Well, I do a lot of things. So my business that I run and how we connected, as you know, Shannon, is called Safi Healthy Fit. And my business has kind of done a lot of different things, but my main intention is to empower what I call in-demand women But this message doesn't just apply to women. So I'll say people that are in demand, meaning we have a lot of demands on our time. And I want to empower in-demand people to really step up into being the best person that they can be for themselves and live a life of positivity and motivation and just feel as though they can be unstuck from any situation and create the life for themselves that they want. And the way that I do that is by leading discussion groups. I was doing in-person events, but of course, everything in that realm of my business is on hold for right now. And I also do a lot of social media connecting, and I have a pretty active Facebook group, as well as writing. I do a lot of writing and public speaking, as well as interviews just like this one to help spread the positivity and motivate people to kind of get off their butts and start taking action steps to really create the life that they want for themselves.
Well, that leads into my first question. You are a leader. I'm considered a leader in what I do, and I'm leading my clients to a different type of way of doing business. Now, all of a sudden, I have to do virtual meetings. I don't think I've ever had as many virtual meetings in the past 9 days as I had in the past last year. Seriously.
Yep.
And now it's graduated into Zoom happy hours and Zoom cocktail hours and Zoom lunches and Zoom dinners and Zoom breakfasts and on Sundays, Zoom brunches. So I've become this interesting new leader into my business, and I was thrown at it. I was unprepared. What can you share with us for people who are now basically thrown in the lion's pit of being a leader? Now, because there's so many people who have never worked at home. Now they've gotten this opportunity from ABC Company, and they're thrown in 2 monitors in the home, and they had IT set up the home, and now they have 3 kids or the 2 kids, and they're trying to teach the kids, and then trying to cook the dinners, and they're trying to do this and to do that. What are the tips that you can share with us on how to be a leader in this new world?
Thank you for that. That's a great question. I just want to add, Shannon, I think that your new title needs to be that you are a Zoomanista. How's that? You can add that to Queen ShanShan's
I'm going to put that on my resume.
You need to do that, because all that Zooming you're doing, you are a Zoomanista. I just came up with that. I'm on a roll today with Zoom. I got all sorts of Zoomisms coming out of my mouth today, so watch out.
I'm writing that down right now. You don't think I'm writing down? I'm writing it down right now. Zoomanista. Yeah.
Zoomanista. So I love this topic of leadership, and I was talking about it recently on one of my morning motivation minutes. Here's the thing about leadership. We have to lead by example, and this is something that I've been following literally since I was a teenager when I was in a youth group, and a girl who was about a year older than me made this her mission to have everybody in our youth group lead by example, meaning that you have to show up for yourself first. If you want to be a leader, and you are a leader by being a leader of one, by being a leader for yourself, and that energy and those action steps that you take each and every day, each and every moment, are observed by other people, whether it's your children, whether it's your partner, whether it's a friend, whether it's a coworker, whether it's your, long lost cousin who somehow sees you on social media somewhere. I believe that every person is a leader. And you have to start when you're thrown into the lion's pit, as you said, and you're in that situation where you're just set up at home, and all of a sudden you have to go, and nobody's sitting there telling you what to do, and you have to guide yourself to your everyday. You have to start by taking action, and you have to start by implementing routines that make you feel good for you. And those routines allow you to create this life that you want, even when you weren't prepared to have to take it on, as many of us have experienced recently.
That lays into my other question: continuity. Continuity is the influx that we're not used to in a certain way of life. And I was just online today. I was on Twitter, and I follow a lot of beauty influencers. And these beauty influencers they're fairly young. They're in their 20s and their 30s, and I'm considered an influencer in some way, shape, or form. But I've always kept a strict time of waking up in the morning and going to work and making breakfast. These influencers are funny because they never really had a true schedule, and they're also young, and they started their own business, and they're also considered entrepreneurs and business owners. But they're saying, oh, just woke up and it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, just had breakfast and it's 3 o'clock. And they're not only they're making jokes, but they're being serious. So the point is that their way of life, again, has been completely changed due to the calling of them. They're not being called on, MAC Cosmetics right now and Anastasia or Jeffree Star Cosmetics, because they're not on that schedule. How can we continue the continuity of our lives and still bring out the results that we want?
That's exactly what you need to do. You need to maintain the continuity. So what I suggest to people and what I teach is you have to look at your life and what are the things in your life that make you feel normal, that make you feel consistent with your everyday actions, that are aligned with your core values and really make you feel good about yourself. So for example, I like structure and I like routine. So we all have this amount of masculine energy and feminine energy, whether you're male, female, identified, somewhere in between, doesn't matter. Everybody's got both sides of the energy, and how much we have varies by individual and how much we have at any given time varies. So the masculine, more structured energy versus the feminine energy, which is more fluid and freeform. But I'm somebody that kind of thrives in that more masculine, structured energy. And so for me, I really thrive on having a structured morning routine. And, what my morning routine looks like might be very different from what your morning routine looks like, and that's fine. But the point is that I know the things that I like to do, which include meditation, journaling, doing some movement, having some time to drink my coffee, to read my book. These are the things I like to do in the morning. And I'll tell you, about 10 days ago, when I kind of was like, everything had just about started, my morning routine was off. And I'll tell you, for about 4 days, I just felt completely off my game the entire day because I wasn't sticking to my morning routine as I had. Once I put that back into place and I had that continuity, then I felt much more secure. I felt much more calm. I felt much more reliant on myself to know that I could do the things that I need to do throughout the day because I had stuck to that routine. So I feel that it's really important to not throw everything out the window, even when, it feels like everything's being thrown out the window. You have to put measures in place that create that sense of continuity and consistency, because as humans, we need some sort of structure in our lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When it comes to forward thinking, I'm always thinking about, and this is the next subject I wanted to talk to you about, is what am I going to do in the next week? And sometimes people say, well, Shannon, don't worry about the future, worry about today. And that's true too. Absolutely. I mean, I'm dealing with some personal issues right now with regards to my family, and I'm very concerned about them. And I was thinking, okay, should I go up there? Because my parents are very elderly, and because of the coronavirus, we are told to really stay away from the elderly because they're more prone to be sick. But my dad and my mom, and thank God we have these caregivers, they're taking care of my parents, and they're doing so well. And my brother, he's kind of like the calm in the family. I'm like, oh my God, I lose my head. And so I'm the one who's like, oh my God, I want to act, and I want to act, and I want to. In my opinion, forward thinking is I have to breathe, and then let me think about my next step. And sometimes I don't breathe. What can you share? What can you contribute to let us know about the forward-thinking aspect and what we need to do in the next 2 weeks, in the next month? Because we are going to be quarantined. As in California, I can't speak about the other states, but we're quarantined at least until April 30th now.
Right.
What is your advice?
I love that you started with breath work, because that is huge. Breath work is not only good for reducing anxiety and reducing depression and just helping the energy flow throughout your body, but it absolutely helps with your mindset. And like you said, this idea of forward thinking. And I was actually meditating on this very topic this morning, and I love that you brought it up. I don't know if you saw my talk that I did today, but I was talking about using breath work to really focus on expansive energy versus contractive energy. And here's what I mean by that and how it relates to forward thinking is, think about when you take a big inhale, right? And your whole body physically expands, right? Your shoulders go back, you can kind of visualize this or even do it while I'm sharing. But as you take a big inhale, you feel your shoulders go back, you feel your chest expand, you feel your body open up, you feel your airways, receive more energy, more air, more flow, right? And as you're expanding, I want you to think about, how can I expand my mind? How can I expand my perspective? How can I expand what I'm doing in my everyday and in my life on a grander scale? How can I expand my thought process? Because life is different now, and it is going to be different for the foreseeable future.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when you're taking that inhale and you're doing that expansive exercise, then you take a pause, and as you start to exhale and let that air out, which causes a contraction in your body, you take that time to pause and to reflect on what you were just dreaming about, what you were just thinking about. And by using this process of your body and your mind at the same time, I really think that it'll allow us to not only focus on where we're at in the present, but how we can expand in the future and how we can reflect on the possibilities that are in front of us.
I literally was inhaling and exhaling when you were talking, and I felt more concentrated in what you were talking about just now. I felt more focused. Just breathing.
I love it.
Whew. And when you were saying about the shoulders going back, my lungs expanding, and my mind felt a little clearer, and I was really focused on what you were saying. We don't breathe anymore. I don't breathe anymore. You got to breathe,
girl.
We got to breathe, but we
don't
breathe. We're not mindful, and that's my next subject. Mindfulness in society. Let me exhale. And let me inhale. My point about the mindfulness in society is that our companies, I'm in insurance, like I said, and we have to be incredibly sensitive now to people's needs and essentials. We, as an industry, the financial industry, we are now considered essential service workers. With that being said, I have to be incredibly mindful of what Joe and Sally Smith are going through at this time. It can't be coming from, well, I'm your insurance agent, this is what you do, and da-da-da-da-do. Now I have to be, if I'm actually going to Zoom my clients, I have to be mindful in my presentation. I have to be mindful in my visualizations in terms of presentation products, showing them what we can offer them. I have to be mindful in my voice, in my tone, because I don't know what they're going through. They definitely don't know what I'm going through before I took that call, or after I took another call. Everyone is going to be stressed in a certain way in these next few weeks, these next few months. Mm-hmm. What can you share to our audience and how to be a mindfulness society? How to be mindful in terms of, just putting yourself in someone else's shoes, because everybody's stories are going to be so different now. And into the years to come, we are a generation that has never, ever, ever experienced anything like this. So explain how we can be a mindful society at this time.
Well, I think it starts with us. It starts with yourself individually, right? So going back to that concept of leadership, you have to be mindful of yourself. You have to be mindful of your own actions. You have to really, this is a time when we are kind of forced to really pay attention to who we are, how do we act, what are the words we say? And I don't mean to be self-critical, quite the opposite. I just think that it's so important for us to really go inward and really observe how we're feeling, how we're acting, how we're speaking, and also to exhibit compassion. And compassion has to start with yourself. You have to have self-compassion. You have to have grace with yourself. You have to have understanding that you are going to have a variety of emotions on a daily basis, regardless of pandemic or not. And when you can observe that in yourself and be compassionate for what you're feeling, you have a much greater capacity to do that for others. Because then, like you're saying, as you're dealing with your clients, you can be more compassionate, knowing that maybe they just got off the phone before they spoke to you with a friend who's feeling ill, or somebody else that's dealing with something anxiety ridden or whatnot that's really upsetting them. And so by having compassion for yourself, it allows you to really put yourself in other people's shoes and have more self-compassion have more outward compassion toward other people by having the self-compassion first. So I think that that's truly something that's very important right now. And just taking the time, the extra added time each and every day, really observe inwardly how you're feeling. Because if you can take that time and then communicate it to those around you, we're all going to be better off in being able to relate to one another, especially as we're doing it from a distance.
Absolutely. Let's talk about our last bullet point, contribution. We are quarantined, and so it's like it's hard for us to go out there and volunteer for those who are hurting in terms of donating clothes, oh my goodness, I just thought about something. We can do that. And I can talk about that in a minute. Helping the ones who are in need, because we're going to have a lot of people who are going to be homeless after this. People are going to be, they won't have enough food. They won't have enough necessities to help, because obviously, these missions are now closed. The facilities that were open to the public are now closed because they're quarantined. Do you have any recommendations on how we can help those in need? I mean, I'm very fortunate. I live in a complex that we're actually feeding each other. I have neighbors giving me food. I'm giving them food. I'm asking them, I'm texting them, hey, do you want me to go to the store for you today? So they don't need to go to the store. I'm giving them tips. I'm like, order the stuff from Home Depot, get some, there are things that we can share. I'm trying to contribute as much as I can instead of just going outside, but people are hurting out there. Do you have any recommendations on how we can help each other at this time in need?
Well, one thing that I'm going to say, and I hope this doesn't come across too strongly, but I definitely think that more people need to heed the warnings and stay home. And that's number one way that we can help people, because if we don't stay home and if we don't listen to the warnings, it's going to get worse before it gets better. And so I think that's the number one way that we can support our community and help this thing flatten the curve and, let it start to go away, is by staying home as most often as possible. So that's number one. But number two, I know that there's a lot of organizations that are doing different campaigns via social media, or like you're doing in your community. It sounds amazing. I don't know. Do you have Nextdoor? Are you familiar with that?
The Nextdoor app?
To communicate. The Nextdoor app? Yeah. Do you use that?
Yes. Is it called Nextdoor or Neighborhood app? Is that the one it's called?
The one near me is called Nextdoor. So it's probably, there might be more than one. But I mean, I've seen a lot of requests and people responding in such a generous way, where people have said exactly what you're saying. Hey, is anybody going to Home Depot, and could somebody get me this, or does anybody have that? So I think if you can reach out within your community, that's such an awesome way to be supportive. And, social media sometimes gets a bad rap, but it's such an awesome tool to connect with others. And I've seen a lot of good connections, via Facebook to the same point. So I think if you're kind of on the lookout, I think you'll see more of it from a contribution perspective. And then the last thing is just check in with people and ask how they are, and offer a smile, and do what we can do to connect as humans, because I do think that that's one of the biggest challenges right now, to your point earlier about mental health, is that we're lacking connection. And if we can connect more frequently and more, positively, that's going to go a really long way, I believe.
Thank you. We're going to have to conclude this. I can't believe our time is already coming up already. But can you give us maybe 2 quick exercises you recommend, some mental or emotional health exercises that can help us go through these challenging times?
Absolutely. I would start with a gratitude practice. This is super easy and everybody can do it. My practice is part of my journaling. When I wake up every morning, I write down 5 things that I'm grateful for. You don't have to do 5. You could do 1. You could write down 1 thing that you're grateful for, but you have to write it down. And the reason is you write it down because that way you can go back to it. And it also solidifies it when you think it in your head and you write it down on the paper and then you see it with your eyes. The process just becomes more solid. But it could be something as simple as I'm grateful for the sun shining today, or it could be something such as I'm grateful for my health and my family's health. Whatever you're feeling grateful for, write that down each and every morning and make that a habit. That's number 1. Number 2 is move your body. You don't have to be doing a full-on HIIT workout. That's not the point. But move your body every day, especially while we're indoors, especially while we're in quarantine. move your body for 10 minutes a day. It could be as simple as putting on 2 of your favorite songs and dancing around your kitchen naked, whatever. Clothes on or not, it doesn't really matter. Go for a walk around your neighborhood. Well, if you're going to go for a walk around your neighborhood, definitely put clothes on. But move your body every day. When you move your body, you create endorphins. It's good for your heart health. It's good for all parts of your body. So start with a commitment of 10 minutes a day, and I guarantee you're going to want to do more than 10 minutes. But if you can commit to 10 minutes a day of movement, your body and your mind will thank you.
I think that's wonderful advice, especially the movement, because since we're now working out of our homes, our commute is literally 5 feet away. We have a 5 feet commute.
Right.
We go get up out of bed. Some people go get their coffee, and then they go immediately to work, or they get out of bed and they go immediately take a shower, and then they get their coffee, and then they go to work. It's like, that's how my routine is, and I'm not gonna lie. That's how my routine has been for the last 15 days. I now have to forcibly take a break when I'm still very routine. I get up at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, and I take my shower, I make my tea, and I get to the freaking computer. I've stopped that, and I've got on my iPad, and now I'm doing the yoga, or I'm doing some sort of dancing. I'm doing something. I'm stretching because I've been having all this sitting down is like killing my sciatica. So I have to make sure I'm stretching, and I'm doing that, everything. I haven't seen my chiropractor in a couple of days, and so that's been helpful to see him. But all this mindful movement also helps create a better work environment, to be honest with you, because if you're breathing correctly, if you're doing your stretches, you're doing something physical, you can get in front of this computer, get in front of your Zoom meetings, and be more presentable. It's a really interesting cyclical effect.
Oh, absolutely. And we need breaks. The other thing too, really simple, a really simple trick is just put alarms on your phone. Like maybe put an alarm on your phone, like every 2 hours or something, that just says break, movement break, and put it on there so that every day at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., movement break.
Great idea.
It forces you to get up and move your booty, right? Do something.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. That is an amazing idea. I actually, in my break today, because I was having it's been a really hard day for me, I sat down for 10 minutes and just combed one of my wigs out. I'm like, that wig needs to be
love it. But that's awesome, because that's self-care, right?
It's self-care, but it's like I haven't worn a wig in 2 weeks. And I put on a wig yesterday, and I felt wonderful because I'm like, oh God, this is what it's like to be normal again.
Right?
I miss that, and so what I'm going to start doing is also putting my makeup on in the morning, and then just putting on something, because even though with these Zoom calls, everyone's so casual now, I still want to look presentable, and I still want to look, professional. So that's definitely a contribution, and I'm being mindful, and being forward thinking, and I'm creating my continuity, and I'm being a leader. So,
I love it.
Thank
you
you
are. I agree.
Thank you.
As
Thank
you're
you
being
so much
a
for
Zoom
being on this
Anista.
call. So
you're so welcome.
Thank you. How can people contact you? And can you share your social media, your email, and why? Should they contact you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure as always. You're amazing and always have so much energy. I'm on social media everywhere at Sassy Healthy Fit. They can find me on my website, which is just sassyhealthy.fit. My LinkedIn is under my first and last name, Hallie Avolio. I post a lot there as well. And they should follow me and reach out to me, because I will give them a dose of positivity and a lot of fun. And I also have some great programs coming up. I'm going to be doing a women's leadership circle starting the end of April. And I'm going to be doing more community events online as needed. There'll be a membership site, et cetera. So there's a bunch of things coming. If you want to connect with other like-minded women and really be in a space of positivity, self-love, and self-care, then I'm your girl. I've also created a freebie for your listeners. So I know you're going to link to that somehow. What? You have to send it out somehow. But the freebie is a deck. Shannon knows this. She's got my affirmation cards, and I created a digital version of my affirmation cards for you guys. So you can download them for free, and everybody can have a copy just to give them a little taste of some sassy, positive fun every day.
And they can find that on the www.sassyhealthyfit. Your website, sassyhealthy.fit website.
The cards are for sale there, but the freebie is that special link that I sent you. So if you can post that somewhere, that would be awesome.
I will definitely. Oh, I see that. Got you. The link that you gave me.
Yeah.
So I will definitely post that link in when I post the podcast, so everybody will have a freebie and have those digital affirmation cards. Yeah, because these affirmation cards, you guys, I'm not kidding you. You just put them on your table, you put them on your dresser or your kitchen, whatever, and you do a random pick, and it just says how sassy you are and different definitions, and it just makes you feel good about yourself.
Oh, I love it. Thank you for using them and for being such a champion of the sassy affirmation cards. It makes me feel happy.
Sassy, Healthy, Fit, Hallie.
Woo woo, Queen ShanShan.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and continue doing what you do. We need soldiers like you in the forefront. We all have different types of versions of soldiers, and you are a positivity soldier out there. And we need you we need you out there, girl. We definitely need that type of feeling and motivation out there, because we have another long road ahead of us, and we just can't be down in the dumpers. We just can't.
Absolutely. I'm with you, girl. Thank you. And thank you for allowing me to come on here and share with your audience. And I'm just so thankful for you and wishing you good health and happiness and love always. And thank you for being a leader and stepping up as well.
Wonderful. And as always, Broads, we appreciate you listening in, and tune into the next one. In the meantime, thanks for listening to Abroad. Thanks, Hallie.
Bye, Shannon.
Bye-bye.